You're listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. Each week, your host, Polly Requa, interviews veterinarians and individuals in the pet industry from across the nation answering pet questions. Bark and Wag podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes can be found at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. That's BARKNWAG.com. Please remember to subscribe to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. Bark and Wag is dedicated to protecting our dogs through advocacy, education, and supporting like-minded dog lovers by selling custom pet products. Bark and Wag is excited to announce our new partnership with a Colorado hemp farm to produce a line of CBD products for your pets. Bark and Wag has CBD pet tincture available in 300, 750, 1200, and 2400 milligrams. Bark and Wag CBD is pet safe, no THC, it's made in the USA, and is CO2 extracted. Please check out Bark and Wag's website, barkandwag.com. That is BARK, to see our line of CBD and awesome merchandise. We love pooch ideas for podcasts and merchandise, so anytime send an email to Polly at barkandwag.com with your suggestions.
Welcome to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. I'm your host, Polly Requa. Today we're talking to Cindy Myers, animal listener and intuitive coach. Cindy is on the podcast a lot, and our listeners love her webinars. So Cindy, welcome, and what is going on in April?
Hi, Polly. Well, I'd love to tell you about what's coming up. Coming April 14th, I'm going to be doing my Animal and Emotions webinar, and I'm going to talk this month about now that a lot of people are starting to get back to work and doing more things away from home, their pets are starting to struggle because they got used to us being home all the time. And so they're stressed out and confused by the changes. So I thought I would discuss the stress of us going back to our normal lives that our pets are experiencing and what we can do to help them.
So when is the webinar?
It's April 14th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And you can get information on how to register. It's free, but you need to register, and you can do that from my website at yourenergyhealer.com.
Great. And anything else you want to let the listeners know? Do you have anything else going on in April?
Well, I have my healing circles that I do most Saturdays at noon Pacific time. Those two are free. And then I have a new class that teaches people how to interpret their dreams and images that they get from meditations. And those are alternate Wednesday evenings. Those do cost $25 per class. And that is at 6 p.m. Pacific time as well. And you can get all that information on my website.
Okay, and I'll also put the information on the show notes. And yeah, it sounds like that webinar will be really good at April 14th. Yeah. Especially since I've even noticed with my dogs when I'm going out, they're sitting by the door when I get home. Like they're very nervous on what's going on.
Right, exactly. Yeah, a lot of people contacted me in the beginning of the pandemic when we first started staying home all the time and worried about the stress of being home all the time on their pets. And I said, no, your pets are loving it. Wait until you go back. That's when your pets are going to have trouble. And sure enough, that's what we're seeing. There are a lot of pets are being confused, a little more stressed out, depressed, but mostly confused on why is my person gone all the time now? That's not okay.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you very much for being on the podcast. And we'll make sure to put all the information in the show notes. And all the listeners, please tune in to Cindy Myers on April 14th.
Thanks, Polly.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, www.barkandwag.com, to your friends and other pet owners. Have a pressing question for a veterinarian? Ask your question at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. This has been a KFR production. Join us next time for another edition of Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk.